Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I have a lot of plants to repot and check on, and I thought we can talk about soil since that is actually a question I get asked on a lot is what goes into my soil mix and everything that surrounds soil basically. So we'll get into what I have in my mix obviously, but um, obviously if you saw the thumbnail, we're talking about the perfect aroid mix, right? And whether it exists or not. Now, the two most common places you will see the term perfect aroid mix or the perfect soil mix is number one, either it's going to be a YouTuber's page or it's going to be a seller's page, right? So let's just get into the basics first, just because. Um, so what's an aroid mix? An aroid mix, what we generally believe to be, is something that has perlite, charcoal, pumice, leca, cocoa chips, bark. Internationally, I think it's known as orchid bark. Here we call it pine bark, or just bark in general. But wait, what am I doing first? What am I doing first? Let's do this luxuriance prop. This guy's desperately needs a repot. There's like roots sticking out of here. There's one sticking at the bottom. So let's get started. Oh, there's a new leaf on the way. Um. So anyway, what's I forgot what I was gonna say. So basically, the good principles of or the good characteristics of an arid mix is to have um, good aeration, good drainage, and organic matter, of course. So for the organic matter, you can either use compost, slow release fertilizer, whatever you want to use, right? But I feel like things get tricky or things get weird when people start calling their idea of an aroid mix as perfect. Anyway, so that's what an aroid mix is supposed to be. It's supposed to mimic the similar substances found on the forest floor where a lot of these aroids or arums come from. And I love how Sean from Only Plants calls it forest floor mix. I totally love that name. Right, so the most basic thing to understand about any aroid mix, whether it's yours or anyone else's, is understanding what goes in the aroid mix and what's the purpose of every one of these guys. So the most basic thing, point number one, is going to be moisture retention. Now, what holds moisture in your aroid mix and to what extent? All of these amendments, they hold on to moisture, but they don't hold on to water, right? Which means once they get wet, the excess water is drained out. Now, what holds on to most amount of moisture and what holds on to least amount of moisture? Anything that's porous and that isn't organic, if that's the right term, will dry faster than anything that is organic. So anything like charcoal, okay, leca. Wait, that's not leca. That's, who are you? What is this? Pumice. Okay, charcoal, pumice, leca, and the perlite in here is really tiny. Charcoal, leca. This is not leca. What are you? Perlite. That is perlite, my friends. Perlite, pumice, leca, charcoal. Okay, these things are gonna dry out faster than stuff like cocoa chips, bark. This is a mixture of worm compost and rice hull. Let me just. So this has rice hull, compost. So anything that's organic, right, that can decompose is gonna hold on to more moisture. By the way, in my experience, vermiculite holds on to a lot of moisture as well. I don't know if I have vermiculite in my mix. I stopped using it because honestly I felt like it did hold on to a little too much moisture and I didn't like that. I think this has it. Oh, there you are. That's a gold piece. That's vermiculite. Yeah, it's like they're like little chunks of gold in your potting mix. Anyway, so what vermiculite does hold on to a lot of moisture. So now that we understood moisture retention, now you need to understand your growing conditions. What kind of place do you live in? Do you live in a humid place, which means your average humidity would be between 60 to 90. Like in Goa, that's like the average. I've never really seen humidity levels drop below 60. I may be wrong. I haven't been monitoring it like for the majority of my life for me to be absolutely sure. But this guy's really stuck. Please don't break anything. So if you live in a climate or a space that has good humidity, then feel free to add less stuff. Okay, hold on. I need to concentrate for this. I feel like that root is getting stuck somewhere. Oh, wait, oh, that's not root bound at all. That was a scam. That's all the soil. And that's not root bound. Freaking scam. Anyway, it's just an excuse to get into a larger pot. I am so scared of roots. I am so scared of breaking roots. I'm so scared of touching roots. I'm just gonna dump this right in. Anyway, so that. Oh wait, I completely forgot what I was talking about. Now I see why people forget, because they digress. Oh yeah, so if you do live in a humid environment, feel free to add chunky material. Feel free to add less of the stuff that decomposes, because that's going to hold on to more moisture. And if you live in a drier environment, if you live in a drier climate, feel free to add stuff that holds on to more moisture. Add in more rice hull, add in more cocoa chips, add in more bark. I actually do not have that much experience with bark. I think I just had one bag of soil that had pieces of bark in them, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you much about bark. But cocoa chips hold on to a good amount of moisture. So if you live in a dry climate, in a dry condition, in a space that has lesser humidity, feel free to add more cocoa chips, add more rice hull, add more compost, add more. By the way, you can never have too much compost in your plants. I feel like that's something that needs to be said. Compost doesn't really burn anything. But, correct me if I'm wrong. Because I've been using compost for so long. I have never burnt anything with compost. I don't think it has the ability to burn anything, right? It shouldn't. That thing is not like... It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right when someone says too much compost can burn your plants. I don't know, that just doesn't sound right. It doesn't make sense in my head. I digress. Again, there's two reasons why you can make your mix less moisture retentive or more moisture retentive. If you're someone that's a chronic underwater, you can make your mix more moisture retentive, which means that once you water and you tend to forget about it, at least the mix is holding on to moisture for longer periods of time and you don't have to worry about it. If you're someone like me who's a chronic overwaterer, yes, I am. I'm a helicopter mom. I like to keep staring at my plants, and I have this. My brain tries to tell me that the more I stare at them, the faster they'll grow. That's not the case, but stay toxic. Luxuriance is done. She's looking cute. There's just one root at the very top. That's just gonna go inside eventually. But yeah, she's looking cute, and I hope the next leaf, which is right here, is nasty big, because this grew inside of this, which is very small. Okay, What were we talking about? Oh yeah, moisture retention. No, we were not talking about moisture retention. The heck were we talking about? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Another tip that I can give you, which I have discussed with my friends, is, by the way, listen to this. I don't know if the mic will pick it up. Anyway, but I had like friends say, "Oh my god, this mix is like they bought a mix from someone, and either it's too chunky or it's too moisture retentive." And the best tip I can give you is buy the amendments separately. Get a bag of perlite, get a bag of pumice, get a bag of leca. If it is too moisture retentive, add more of these guys in there. Add more of charcoal, add perlite, add these guys. If it's too chunky, which means it's gonna dry out faster, you can honestly just take a hammer and snap, like break these. Charcoal technically just snaps in your hand. Okay, maybe this guy isn't. Wow, you guys are wait, why? Okay, charcoal technically snaps in your hand, and the pumice may be a little tougher. Pumice is generally tougher, but if you're annoyed at the seller for selling you a very chunky mix, take out your frustration, get the hammer, smash it, boom, you have a better mix, and your frustration's gone. Win-win for both of you. So yeah, that's one thing you can do, is amend your mixes. If you have an existing mix that's not working for you, amend it. Don't feel like that's the end of the world. I've had so many people tell me, I got this mix from this people. It's too chunky. I'm so annoyed. I got that mix from that person. It's so moisture retentive. It's hardly got any of the, good stuff. Amend it. Amend it. Add your chunky stuff. Add your moisture retentive stuff. Stop complaining. Where there's a will, there's a way. Or at least I like to tell myself that. What are we doing next? Oh, I really want to tackle. Who do I want to tackle? I don't know. I don't have a pot for you. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is not a repot technically. I think for some reason they're like dents inside the pot, so I'm just going to backfill this. I'm not going to repot this because I don't want to get into a pot that's too big, and this is a sale plant, so I don't want to get into a big pot and then not be able to ship it out if anyone decides to get it. Shameless plug. It's still available. So yeah, we've spoken about moisture retention. We've spoken about growing conditions. So the next is obviously your nutrients, right? These guys are very as great as they are where drainage is concerned. It doesn't really compact. These are sterile mixes, which means you have to add your nutrients, your stuff that's going to give the plants the nutrients they need. So I add compost. Recently started using slow release fertilizer, and that actually has really been great because I grow a lot of these guys outdoors, and the rain and everything, a lot of it was not only getting washed out, but can we just come on, she's beautiful. Anyway, so yeah, I recently started using well, not recently, maybe just before the rain started using slow release, and that has been a game changer for me. And I'm pretty happy with the results that I've seen. And yeah, that's something you can do as well. I don't use neem powder, neem cake. I don't know which one's what, but I don't use that. I've heard that can burn your stuff, but I'm not too sure because I don't know. I've never used it. I've never felt the need to use it. I've never really felt its absence. Next, we're gonna do my Regal Shield. That new leaf is beautiful. Please excuse the fact that they're dirty. I do grow my plants outdoors, and these guys sit almost above a coconut tree leaf, which always has something to drop on them. And this plant is big, like it's big, and I really want to give it a big pot. Am I being too ambitious? Am I being too ambitious right here? I know I have the spot for something else. I think I wanted to put my poly in this. But if I put my poly in this, what will I put this in? So, dun dun dun. What do we do now? You know what? I think I'm gonna do the radio shield in this because it's see-through, and I might, if something goes wrong, I'll be able to see it. Like if it's too moisture retentive. Let's just do it. Okay, since we are talking about sizes and size of the amendments, these are what you call amendments. How do you know, or should you change, should you have a mix that has larger chunkies, what is the word? Larger chunks? Should you have a mix with smaller chunks? Personally, I just have this one bin, and every plant that I own gets this mix. Nobody is excused. I deliberately pulled out. I have a philodendron. I have an anthurium. I have an alocasia, and I have a snake plant. I deliberately pulled out these 4 plants to show you that I grow everything in one mix. I don't have a separate mix for anything, or for any genus. Should you have a separate mix with bigger chunks, and should you have a separate mix with smaller chunks? Now that is purely up to each individual. I do know that alocasias, right? They have thinner roots as compared to anthurium, as compared to monsteras. However, when these same guys are small or juvenile, mosquitoes, they also have tiny roots, so they will be fine, right? But what you need to be on the lookout for is when a plant matures, what do those roots look like then? By the way, look at those roots. I'm scared to drop anything. When monsteras mature, a lot of their roots get fat. I mean fat, right? So if you have a mix that has a lot of chunks, don't throw them out. Just put them in a pot that has a monstera in them, and they will thrive. They will honestly thrive. A bunch of mosquitoes that flew out of that pot. My gosh! Shoot! So if you feel like your plants are drying out too fast with a chunky mix, separate those chunks and put it into a separate bin and use it for the time whenever your plants mature and whenever your plants, start getting those thick, fat, juicy roots. Personally, I don't do that. I will, I find this is too big, I'll just pluck them out like that, because alocasias do their mature forms don't have thick roots, right? They're quite thin. So I just keep the mix or the chunks. If it's too large, I'm just going to take them out. But that being said, right? When I just started out, like when I was just starting out, I was so scared of overwatering my plants that I would make the chunkiest mix. And I mean, nothing was smaller than this. My charcoal was massive. There were like this big sizes of charcoal in there, right? And I have my first ever black velvet that started thriving in that mix, and I was like, wait. So when people started saying that you should have finer amendments for potting up alocasias, I was a little confused because I'm like, hey, my plant's growing in an extra large chunky mix. What's that all about, right? So experiment. Don't just go off of what people are saying, right? Experiment. See what works for you. Obviously take their advice, but make it work for you. Don't just go off of what someone's saying, because then tomorrow you will not have anyone to blame but yourself, right? Just because someone said something, you can either listen to them blindly, or you can experiment and learn for yourself. And that being said, I do know of a lot of international companies that make these curated soil mixes. By the way, am I getting too much? Not really. So these curated soil mixes will be like, they'll have stuff like philodendron mix, alocasia mix, monstera mix, Hoya mix, which is perfect for people who enjoy all of that, right? It's perfect. But for those who don't, and for those who cannot access all of that, we need to learn for ourselves. We need to understand and not just go off what people are saying, right? So don't just listen to what someone's telling you that this is going to work for you, buy my stuff. Again, not trying to hate on any sellers. Oh my gosh, were you able to see any of that? Here, now you can. I think that's perfect. We don't have a lot of pockets. We just have one pocket right there, but that's because the charcoal is right there. I'm totally fine with that. Normally I would go in with a fork or a knife and kind of stuff that in, but I'm pretty okay with how this looks. Looks pretty decent, to be honest. And she's ready. She's ready to take off. She's ready to give me those big, large leaves. Anyway, so yeah, talking about curated mixes. So because we don't have sellers here that make curated mixes who actually understand, you know, the importance of all of the stuff we've just spoken about, it's easy to just fall into the trap that someone says perfect for the soil or perfect for houseplants. So feel free to experiment. The best way you can experiment is by buying these amendments separately. Buy 1 kilo each of whatever you want to add, and then mix it. Make a small batch, pot it into, use that to pot up some plants. See how your plants react. They like it, they love it, they're thriving, and accordingly amend it. It's so much fun to work with soil because oh wow, that's a fat chunk. This one's gonna get a massive pot as well, if I can get it out. Oh, I'm so sorry for taking so long. Whew. That's full of roots. I rescued this guy, I remember, almost this time last year. And look at her now. She's so big. Look at that nice onion in there. And this onion here. So cute. This one's getting a big pot. So yeah, playing around with soil is the most fun thing I can recommend to do as a plant parent. So play with your soil. Play with your soil, not yourself. Oh my gosh. What am I saying, bro? What am I saying? Okay. Is that too deep? No, it's not. Now, snake plants, they don't complain. They don't complain about anything. You give them a chunky mix, they're perfectly fine. You give them a less chunky mix or a more moisture, like a peat heavy mix, they're still fine, right? I love snake plants. I love snake plants so much. Actually, it's time for me to get more snake plants, I think. Or do I have too many? We'll see. Now, the fact that I'm adding this into such a big pot, the way I'm going to water this is only once I water this, right? I'm going to check how heavy the pot feels. It's going to be very heavy because of how much mass is here, or how much volume, or what am I trying to say, bro? Basically, with the amount of soil that's around this pot now, it's going to hold on to moisture a lot, and which is good. That means I don't have to water these guys as often. So it's kind of a win-win. Honestly, I just wanted to talk about soil because not a lot of people are actually talking about soil, and my biggest fear in growing when I just started out was getting my mix right, and I thought all of my problems were because I had a bad mix, and I was scouring the internet. She's ready, by the way. She looks so good in this. I just went to the nursery today. I went like plant supply shopping, and I saw one that was massive. It was big. It was the length of this box. It was big. I need you to get that size, okay? Thank you. Next. Wait, I forgot what I was talking about again. Let's do another plant. So obviously the last plant is going to be a philodendron, but it's a philodendron that nobody talks about. You'll only see it in sellers' WhatsApp groups, and they are so cheap, but they get no love. At one point, I had no love for the plant. Okay, and who is this plant that we don't talk about? It's the philodendron Nagaritans. I do not know. I think it's just called fuzzy petal. But this guy is growing so well. This particular this particular cutting. By the way, I got this as a tiny. It was so small. I'll insert the unboxing clip. But that thing was microscopic when I got it. I cannot believe I actually managed to get it to this size, and it's actually growing quite steadily. And I wanna grow this on my staircase where it gets very less light, because these guys tend to bleach very quickly, like faster than my gloriosum. So I want to give it a bigger pot and set her up for success. Then she's just, you can tell she's been neglected, right? And those roots are everywhere. So, oh gosh, how do I even start? I'm gonna give her a very crappy looking moss pole, but a moss pole indeed. Oh, that smell! I think I snapped something, but man, that smelled so good. Oh, I think I snapped this root. So yeah, no one talks about this plant, and I don't know why. It's really cute. Actually, it's not all that great. I know there are cuter philodendrons. It's really stuck. I'm gonna regret this. I better do this right. Yep, that's what was stuck. It's got a lot of roots at the bottom. Okay. That's a lot of roots. Okay. That's a lot of roots. So now that we're here, I'm gonna give her this super duper ugly moss bowl that I just got because I was deluded into thinking that plants grow the best when they have a moss pole. By the way, I have proof that plants don't need moss poles to grow. It's all on your conditions. At the end of the day, no matter what people say, that kind of rhymed. I'm so proud of myself. Um, no matter what people say is the perfect aroid mix, there's no such thing as a perfect aroid mix. Go, bro, go inside. Oh gosh, I need a zip tie. ASAP. Perfect. Oh wow, she actually stands on her own. Ta-da! She's so pretty. Okay, so finally, what's in my mix? My mix has pumice, charcoal, not a lot of cocoa chips. Now the tiny bits, perlite, compost, and rice husk, and obviously leca. And I do have bark somewhere. Is that, whoa. Is that bark? What is that? What are you? Okay, that's straight up rock. My lucky leca. It's not lucky. I just like to call it lucky leca because it's so smooth and round. And this is actually a little too moisture retentive for me. Like I didn't realize how much rice hull I was adding until I emptied the entire bag in here. So this is, I'm going to be adding more leca in here. Actually, I'm going to be adding more charcoal. I'm going to be adding more perlite. And what do I not see? Okay, so I like to do this where I just pick up stuff, and whatever I don't see of a lot, I will add that. So I'm seeing a good amount of pumice, good amount of leca, good amount of rice hull, perlite. I'm not seeing charcoal. So charcoal is what's gonna come in here. Yep, you know what? Actually, there's not a lot of charcoal in here. There's a little too much leca and not enough charcoal. So we're gonna add more charcoal whenever, just not right now. Because it's late and I need to take a shower and I need to sleep because I need to wake up for church. Oh look, now you snap. So in conclusion, does a perfect aroid mix exist? No. But does a perfect mix exist that's curated for your growing environments? Heck yeah. Because at the end of the day, plant or growing plants revolves entirely around your growing conditions. You need to, the more than anything else, understand and study your growing conditions, right? If a plant is given the right growing conditions, it will thrive. I have proof, like I said, I have proof of a plant living on a stick and it jumped in size like crazy, right? So understand, number one, understand your growing conditions, understand the humidity levels of your space, understand your lighting, um, see what kind of plants respond well to your grow space as is and what plants don't, and then see how you can, work around that, see what you can do to improve it, or what you can do to make maybe the lighting less, maybe the humidity more, maybe airflow more. Play around, don't get stuck to a set of rules, right? Like there was a time when I was part of groups where when someone had a plant problem and someone they would want to like troubleshoot it, everyone had this list of things that I was seeing over and over again where it's like I did A B C D and everything's still going wrong. Well, have you tried to understand what your growing conditions are and why is your plant's not responding well? Oh, my foot's about to cramp. Anyway, so like I said, understand the basics and go from there. That is the best piece of advice I can give to anyone who is maybe struggling with, certain things in their collection or certain aspects of their collection, or someone who just needs a fresh start, or just a push to start again in case they've given up. Let this be that push for you. And on that note, I just realized I have 2 water propagations that I need to pot up, which I'm probably going to do some other time. But I will see you guys in the next one. If you guys have watched till the end, thank you and have a great rest of your night.